Okay, we're going to look into the indoor air quality and ventilation system. Indoor air quality, or IAQ, means that the air quality within and around buildings and structures. And it relates to the health and comfort of the building occupants. It's very important to know how inside air can affect a person's health, comfort, and ability to work. It can be a home, it can be a factory, it can be an office, and it not limit only to the temperature, humidity, mold, bacteria, poor ventilation, exposure to other chemical. Okay, so it covers a quite big range of condition. And the good indoor air quality safeguards the health of the building occupants and comfort and also their well-being. And results from the bad indoor air quality, it will give the occupant or expose the occupant with the lung-related diseases. For example, the Legionnaires disease, okay. And then we have exposure from the radon and also carbon monoxide poisoning. And other health issue will occur such as allergy, asthma, cold, and then there's a special condition that we call sick building syndrome. Based on this definition, air in which there are no unknown contamination at harmful concentration at which a substantial majority of the people exposed do not express dissatisfaction. Okay, let's watch the video on the indoor air quality.
Let's talk about indoor air pollution. I remember when I first heard about indoor air pollution in my AP Environmental Science class, I was a little confused. When I used to think of pollution, I would think of images like this, or this. But pollution is often invisible, and it isn't just restricted to the outdoors. Indoor air pollutants can lead to serious health conditions, and even death. But there are ways to identify and prevent indoor air pollution. Let's take a look at an example. This is Ava, and let's say Ava, like many other people in the world, spends the majority of her time indoors. She works, sleeps, cooks, and eats in her home. And lately, she's been experiencing headaches, and she's been coughing. A possible culprit is indoor air pollution. So where could the indoor air pollution be coming from? Let's take a look at Ava's house. Indoor air pollution can come from many different kinds of sources, both human-made and natural. Ava's furniture, paneling, and carpets could be releasing volatile organic compounds, which are often written down as VOCs. And they basically include substances that form gases at room temperature. Like formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is used as an adhesive in building materials and upholstery, and it can get into the air. This is the same stuff that is used to embalm and preserve dead bodies. In other words, it's not pleasant to breathe in. The United States Environmental Protection Agency says that formaldehyde is one of the 4 most dangerous air pollutants in the country. Formaldehyde can make you dizzy and nauseated, and if you're exposed to enough of it, it can kill you. Indoor air pollutants can also come from Ava's house itself in the form of particulates, which are teeny tiny particles, so small that they can stay suspended in the air. And they can be really dangerous because they can travel deep into the lungs and damage cells. One such particulate is asbestos. It's actually, in my opinion, a really cool substance. It's an electrical insulator, and it's fireproof and it's acid-proof. And there was a time when many houses were being built with asbestos in its building insulation, flooring, and roofing. It's actually a natural material that's mined, and it has light, fluffy fibers that can be woven into cloth. To me, it always looked like unicorn hair. But really, it's more like evil unicorn hair. Each fiber can break into microscopic pieces that can scar your lungs and lead to lung cancer and other lung diseases. Particulates in Ava's house could also be coming from the paint. Lead paint in Ava's house could begin to chip away and could suspend small particles in the air. These particles could cause lead poisoning, which can cause headaches and nerve and brain damage. The use of lead and asbestos has been restricted by many governments around the world, but these materials can still be found in older buildings. Another way inside air can become polluted is through combustion, which is to say, burning stuff. Combustion can cause a wide variety of pollutants that can irritate lungs, including carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, sulfur dioxide, and particulates. One way that carbon monoxide can build up inside a building is from a poorly maintained furnace. Carbon monoxide molecules have a secret weapon. They can trick the proteins in your blood into thinking they're oxygen. This can cause asphyxiation, which is when the body cannot get enough oxygen, and it can be deadly. Ava should make sure that her furnace is well maintained and serviced regularly. Combustion-related air pollution doesn't just come from furnaces, though. In less economically developed countries, families sometimes use open fires for heating and cooking. People often burn wood, peat, and even coal inside homes without the necessary ventilation to circulate and dilute the pollutants in the air. Combustion-related air pollution can also come from poorly ventilated fireplaces and tobacco smoke. So, what could Ava do to reduce combustion-related air pollution? Well, she could open the windows, and she could use fans to mix the smoke and pollution with outside air. Ava should also install a carbon monoxide detector to make sure that the air is safe. A carbon monoxide detector could also detect leaks from natural gas stoves or heaters. It's also possible that Ava's house has natural pollutants, like mold, dust, or even radon. Mold is a type of microscopic fungus that's always floating around in the air, and breathing it in can cause itchy eyes, runny noses, and it can trigger asthma attacks. And mold loves moisture. So when the air is really humid, there will be more mold spores, which is good for the molds, but bad for us. And what areas of the house tend to have the most moisture? The bathrooms and the kitchen. So these areas especially need to have windows that can be opened or air fans that can draw moisture and the molds out of the house. Another kind of natural indoor air pollutant is radon, which is a radioactive noble gas. It's produced by the natural decay of radioactive rocks in the ground. Let's say that Ava's basement has some cracks in the foundation and the walls. That would mean that when radon seeps upward through the soil, it could enter these cracks and be stuck inside Ava's house. Breathing in too much radon could damage lung tissue and even lead to lung cancer. Depending on where the house is built, some places, like Ava's house, are more likely to have radon than others. Ava can prevent radon exposure by sealing up the cracks in the foundation of her house, and by ventilating her basement. Some indoor air pollution requires professional remediation. To get rid of asbestos, for example, an accredited asbestos abatement specialist basically shows up in a biohazard suit like this. That's how dangerous it is. For other situations, there's a simple solution to Ava's problem: ventilation. Ava could open windows on the opposing sides of her home, just a crack. The outdoor air would flow in, dilute the indoor air pollutants, and carry them out of the house. This natural ventilation allows the air to circulate and reduces the buildup of indoor air pollutants. There are a lot of ways that indoor air pollutants could sneak into Ava's house, from nature, from combustion, and from human-made items. Being aware of these sources can help Ava make sure that the air inside her house is fresh, clean, and healthy.
Okay, sick building syndrome. Okay, in the situation in which the building occupant experience acute health and also comfort effect. Some of the building may have the inadequate ventilation. Maybe their ventilation system is not working, and some of the building occupants experience symptoms that do not fit the pattern of any particular illnesses. It can be symptom from eye and nose irritation, fatigue, cough, nausea, headache, sore throat, and combination. So these are the symptoms of the sick building syndrome. So where are the source for the indoor air pollution? So we can see that is from the smoking, okay, from the outdoor, coming into the house, from the pollen, fine particles, house dust mite, and then toner from the printer, people and animals, The fireplace, fungus, and also the VOC is compound. Let's watch the video on the air quality assessment. Okay, what are the VOC?
When it comes to assessing a family's indoor living environment, the Environmental Protection Agency identified 5 indoor air quality categories of concern that all homeowners need to be educated about in their home. They are referred to as the 5 danger levels of indoor air quality. Indoor air quality is a major human health issue in the United States and Canada. Did you know that people spend 90% of their time indoors? This is actually growing due to many societal impacts. Did you know that there are 750,000 new asthma cases per year in the U.S. alone? Homes are also built tighter and far more energy efficient than they used to be. Fresh, clean air in homes is now harder to get. Let's take a few minutes to dissect these 5 danger levels and explain exactly what we're dealing with in our homes. Carbon monoxide at low levels causes mild health effects that are often mistaken for the flu. These symptoms include headaches, dizziness, disorientation, nausea, and fatigue. High doses of carbon monoxide can be fatal. Danger level 4 contaminants are microbial growth. These are microorganisms, mold, and fungal spores. You will always have naturally occurring mold. It's everywhere. But when mold is in abundance in areas it shouldn't be, it can reach toxic levels and become a health hazard. Most elevated levels of mold are due to 2 things: inadequate ventilation in unfinished areas of the home and moisture intrusion. Mold and mildew are musty-smelling fungi which grow in air that is moist and stagnant. Allergies are aggravated by mold spores. The number 1 allergen is the fecal matter of dust mites, which live off moisture from the air. Mild molds can cause sinus and respiratory infection, while severe molds can have catastrophic health consequences, including infertility. Danger level 3 are allergens and particulates. Dust, pet dander, pollen, insect debris, and smoke are microscopic organisms that may live and float around naturally in your home. They typically travel through your air ducts and upward through the home following the stack effect. Dust mites were mentioned when we discussed moisture. Keeping your house dry can make it hard for them to live. Filtering and cleaning your indoor air is very important too if these allergens and particulates are present in abundance. Symptoms of high levels of allergens and particulates could be nose and throat irritation, congestion, sneezing, coughing, and asthma flare-ups. Have you ever said, "I'm going outside for a breath of fresh air"? Danger level 2 contaminants are infectious illness in the form of colds, flu, bacteria, germs, and viruses. They are airborne illnesses or microorganisms. These germs, viruses, and bacteria are naturally carried in by animals and family members from the outside. Once in the house, they go airborne and get sucked into the air distribution system and circulated around the home. I'm sure you can relate to the transferring of illness by sick people present in the same home, office, school, or mass transit vehicle. Danger level 1 contaminants are toxic compounds. Building materials, furniture, carpets, paints, and cleaning chemicals can produce a toxic environment in your home that may cause an allergic reaction. Homes are being constructed and re-insulated to be tighter and more energy efficient, which may trap these toxic chemicals in our home. It's no wonder childhood asthma has increased 600% in the last 30 years. These are indoor toxins, as I just mentioned, and also exterior pollutants. These are pesticides, herbicides, and even natural gases like methane. These gases can migrate into a house from the soil.
And dust mite can be found on the sofa, bed, and all the fabric. And these are the mold. Okay, this is the worst condition in which the mold have infected the whole house, in which is very dangerous, okay, due to the humidity. And the symptom of the poor indoor air quality, in which heavy dust pollen come through the nose, the mouth, and then the dust get into the lung. Okay, and then also the particle gas also get into the lung, and it will cause headache, dizziness, irritation, and then also asthma, lung disease, and skin irritation. And these are the infographic on the indoor air quality, which they give the symptoms, okay, the contamination of the resources, and also how to conduct the investigation. Industry Code of Practice on the Indoor Air Quality 2010, and it covers on the complaint, investigation, the control of the indoor air quality, record keeping, and all the information needed, okay, for the industrial code of practice. So the purpose for this ICOP to provide guidance, okay, on improving the indoor air quality, to set minimum standard for selected parameter, especially focus on the MVAC, the mechanical ventilation aircon system, and also it give all the information on the guideline. So the scope applies to all building or any part of the building that totally enclosed and have the MVAC, and except for these three, okay, for domestic industrial purpose, and removal of disposal of asbestos, and also any area of parts building where chemical hazardous to health are used for analytical research and preservation purpose. And these are the complaint. The building owner shall establish a procedure dealing with the complaint, and also the building owner to ensure that the investigation must be conducted based on the complaint. And responsibility and duty to investigate. When the complaint received, the building owner have to take action, investigation, and also building management have to make sure that all the renovation are made. There are significant changes to the ventilation system, must be aware on that. And these are the flowchart, okay, for the complaint and investigation. So they have to follow this flowchart. These are the table in which they give the parameter, physical parameter for the acceptable range of the air temperature between 23 to 26 degrees Celsius indoor. Relative humidity should be 40 to 70%, and also air movement should be this value. Okay, this is based on the MS1525 2001. And in table 2, these are also the air contamination and the acceptable limits, in which they have the contamination, carbon monoxide, okay, 10 ppm, formaldehyde 0.1 ppm, ozone 0.05 ppm, respirable particles, and also the VOC. And also for the biological contamination, they have the bacterial and fungal count. And also for the ventilation performance indicator, they have the carbon dioxide. And duty to control the exposure. Building owner, what are their duty? Where the assessment report indicates that the indoor air quality unacceptable, building owner or building management shall initiate to implement any of the measure within 1 month after receiving the report or complaint. So they have to act on the complaint that they receive. And in the microbial contamination, so they have to check on the ductwork, humidifier, cooling coil, filter, and any mechanical ventilation air conditioning system component, and do the inspection and also the maintenance, so that they will prevent the growth of the microbial. And inspection of the maintenance of the mechanical ventilation air conditioning, they have to plan out for the scheduled maintenance based on the manufacturer recommendation, and also they have to make sure that all the system need to be serviced properly. All the time they shall clean and replace the filter before it clog, and then check all the cooling coil, condensate pipe, water, and all the parts. And at least every once in a month, they need to clean the trays to ensure there no contamination build up. And at least every 6 months, they need to inspect the building and the mechanical ventilation air conditioning system. Okay, clean the component of air handling unit, AHU, such as fan, dampers, and also clean the con and condensate pipe. After the first year operation, and at least every 2 years, the MVAC system shall be checked, okay, to ensure the correct airflow, temperature, and humidity. And if there are any changes and renovation, they need to check again. And also if there are any changes on the layout, and all the record must be kept. Okay. And control for prescribed activity. Whenever they want to do the maintenance, they have to use the proper PPE. Okay, they have to seal the area. They have to display signage. They must have a safe work procedure. They using the portable exhaust system, and the activity must be carried out not during the working hours. Prevention and control for renovation works. So they make sure that there's no toxic substance, to use low VOC emission material, and should be isolated, the space, and any major renovation they need to check. And pest control, these are the guidelines for the pest control. Should be minimized using the pesticide, and also the spraying should be done outside normal working hours, preferably during the weekends, and the occupant need to be notified if they want to do the pest control. Okay, so all of this are important. And housekeeping and cleaning is very important to prevent the indoor air quality problem, and must have cleaning schedule. And then they have to do the steam vacuuming to remove the dust mite, and prohibited smoking will help to improve the indoor air quality. And these are the guidelines, okay, that's specific for the local exhaust ventilation system, published by the Ministry of Human Resource. So local exhaust ventilation system that used to control exposure of employees to chemical hazardous to health, to capture a contamination at or near the sources. And contamination can be in form of dust, smoke, mist, aerosol, vapor, and gas. So these are the local exhaust ventilation. Okay, hood, ducting, air cleaner, and fan. And these are the information on the hood. Okay, you can read further in the notes. These are the ducting system, these are the air cleaner, these are the fan, and these are about the inspection of the local exhaust ventilation system. And so that's all, okay, for the indoor air quality.